Housing with y'all. United Housing is a nonprofit, and I'm sure y'all are familiar. I think Joe said she worked for, or you have a nonprofit. But United Housing is a nonprofit, and our mission is affordable housing for people. As you know, in the city of Memphis, there's a lot of renters in the city of Memphis. And so Joe mentioned the fact that we have homebuyer education, which if we can get everybody in the right order to do the things we want them to do to purchase a house, they'll start with the education piece. We also, Joe said we have a sundry of things that we do at United Housing. We have a lending department, and in the lending department, I have home repair loans, which I'm going to talk about today. We have what we call a cherry mortgage loan, which only goes up to $125,000. So we're focused on the low to moderate income population at United Housing. We also have the homebuyer education. We also have some rental properties for veterans. We've also, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Wolf River Subdivision in Frazier. We just finished completing the subdivision. They started it about 14 years ago, and the 08-09 debacle happened. And then the director of the company passed away, and it sat there for like 12 years with nothing happening. And our new executive director took the bull by the horns, and we just put 13 people, many of them as first-time home buyers, into this new subdivision. So
your PowerPoint's up too.
Awesome. Okay. So this is our mission statement. We provide quality opportunities for Mid-South residents through financial coaching, which is the homebuyer education, through the mortgage lending, which is my department, through the home building I just talked about, and through renovations. Are you going to flip it for me?
Just tell me when.
Okay, perfect. We're ready.
It's showing here, but it is not showing there.
Huh.
This projector states us.
I think so.
If you put it on a slideshow, would it matter?
Yeah, let's see. Click from the beginning. Let's see. Let me scoot down.
Where's your arrow? Sometimes the arrow will make it go.
I tried to use the arrow a while ago, and it wouldn't work.
Is that it? That's it.
Okay, yeah, this takes a minute.
So, by the time people get to me, I'm usually their last resort. If I can't help them, they're pretty much hopeless. So, I don't know if y'all can see this picture or not, but this drain system is coming out of this lady's window. This is how someone had fixed her drainage problem. They ran a pipe out of her window and down her driveway to make her kitchen sink drain. So this lady came to me, and I turned her down because her credit score, we take a 580 credit score, which y'all know in the real world is very generous. So her credit score was below 580, and I turned her down. 6 months later, her daughter calls me and says, my mother is desperate for help. What can I do to help her? Well, it turns out her children had been using her credit cards and not paying the bills. So the kids had ruined her credit. So long story short, I worked with this daughter for 6 months, got her mom's credit to where we could live with it, send our inspector out to find out that she has a broken drain under her house. And this is how somebody fixed her problem, because it was going to take $6,000 or $7,000 to really fix the problem. So, can we go to the next one?
That's right.
So, what is a home repair loan? What do we consider repairs? You know, a lot of people come to us that want cosmetic help, and we can't do cosmetic help at United Housing. Skip to one more, if you will. Okay. So, what we mainly concentrate on. The biggest problem that people normally have is their roof situation. And you know, if your roof is not intact, the whole house is pretty much going to crumble underneath it. The second biggest problem that people come to me with is they have either no heat or no air. Now, you don't have to have air conditioning for a house to appraise. So ceiling fans, not necessarily in the city of Memphis, will get you by, but you have to have heat in your house. So heat is a big problem for people. The next thing that we see a lot of are plumbing and electrical problems. We see a lot of code violations. The biggest problem that we run into is that people have not maintained their property because they can't afford to maintain the property. So we make the home repair loans up to, we have two different repair programs that I'm going to talk about. The first one goes up to $15,000. It's a 1.5% interest rate, and it's financed over 10 years. So their payment is roughly $135 a month for the 10 years. The second program that we have is a $20,000 home repair loan, but it's only for 3 zip codes. It's for 38116, 38109, and 38127. So it's for Fraser and Whitehaven. But it's $20,000 at a 0% interest, and they have to have a 580 credit score to be able to qualify. Let me just see what I wrote here.
Yeah, it's showing on the video.
That is so weird.
It's not on there.
It's not moving.
I know.
Okay,
there we go.
So what do you have to do to apply for a home repair loan? You can either go on our website at uhinc.org and look under our services, and there are both loan applications under there. There's a fix it tab or a buy it tab. Can't make it any simpler than that. So if you need your house repaired, you're going to click on the fix it. If you want to purchase a house, you're going to click on the buy it. You pay $25 for a credit report, and we start the process. So like I mentioned before, our income limits are 80% low to moderate income. So if you're a one family household, you can make up to $43,050. If you're a 2 people household, you can make up to $49,200. We do have a little leeway, you know, depending. Sometimes I can get an exception made if their credit score is like really, really low, and I know they can't go somewhere else and borrow the money. Like I said at the beginning, we're usually the last jumping off point for these people. They've exhausted all their other choices by the time they get to me. So they have to have a 580 credit score. They have to be in the low to moderate income bracket. And if they don't have a credit score, some people come to me that don't even have a credit score. So we can use alternative credit in that situation. And we can use the alternative credit to get your house repaired and or to purchase a property. So what is alternative credit? Alternative credit would be a verification of your rental or your house payment for the last 24 months. We need a 24-month history on people. We need to know where they've lived and worked for the last 24 months. We can also use light, gas, and water is a really good reference. Most people pay their own light, gas, and water, and they'll provide a reference letter and tell us that they've been paying their on time, or they'll tell us that they've been cut off. They've got a printed form that they can send us. We can also use insurance payments because most people have some kind of insurance that they're paying every month, if it's health or car, house, potentially rental insurance. We can also use cell phone bills. They can tell us what they're paying every month. And as long as they can get me a history on it, we can use that as alternative credit. But we do have to have 3 verified sources to be able to use that as opposed to a credit score. Our qualifying ratios are 33 and 45. That means we take 33% of their gross monthly income, and that has to cover, if they have a first mortgage already, it's got to cover their first mortgage and their home repair loan. And then our bottom ratio is 45% of their gross monthly income, and that has to cover the house note, repair note, and everybody that they owe. Okay, so we've taken the people's application. We've gotten all their verifications. We have to have their bank statements, their tax returns, their mortgage history, and their homeowner's insurance. Goes through underwriting. We get an approval. After the approval, we send our inspector out. The inspector gives us an estimate of what the repair work on the house is going to cost. And just in the 3 years that I've been there, the inspections are just coming back astronomical. The $15,000 loan that we make, they generally have to choose what they want to do and then pay on that for a while and then come back. We're toying with raising the amount of money that we loan, and on a case-by-case basis. A lot of these people can't qualify for the more than the 15,000. Some of them can't even qualify for the 15. But we try to sit down with them and help them make good choices. Like they may come to us for one thing and then we find out that their roof isn't any good. And if your roof is no good, you don't need to fix whatever your problem is on the inside. I have seen lately a lot of people that need handicap accessibility, which is another thing that we can do to help them. I saw in your flyer here that you've got somebody in the group that has handicaps. I want to reach out to them.
Yes.
So I'm networking while I'm here, Joe.
Welcome in to the meeting, Trudie.
Okay, so we assign a contractor to do the work. We have a list of contractors that are all licensed and bonded, and we don't let anybody go in your house that we haven't pre-approved. So we assign the contractor. We generally assign the contractor based on their expertise. Like we've got some people that, are better at some things than they are at others. All of our people are required to go through a budget counseling class before we put a mortgage on their house. We do record a mortgage as collateral. So our home buyer education class that does the home buyer education class for the first time home buyers has a 1 hour one-on-one counseling session with these people. And they go over their budget with them to try to make sure before we put a mortgage on their house, we don't want their house back. We want them to stay in their house and keep it. After they have their budgeting class, after we have their homeowner's insurance, we put our endorsement on their homeowner's insurance. Occasionally, I'll run into people that don't have insurance, and that's okay because it's generally because they need a new roof and their insurance has been canceled. So I just have them sign a form at closing that they'll agree to get homeowner's insurance as soon as the repair work is done. And so far, everybody's done what they said they're going to do. Of course, I stay on them. I don't give them a lot of choice, but they've got to pay for it, which is another issue potentially for some people. Okay, so the last screen has my name and number on it, and I brought some cards with me, so I was going to give it.
They can't see it.
Yeah, they can't see that, so I was going to give everybody a card. The other thing that I want to talk about just briefly is our Terry mortgage loan, which is a first-time home buyer loan, or it can be for somebody who has not owned a house for the last 3 years. So when I went to work at United Housing, we loaned $70,000 for a home. Well, you can't buy a house for $70,000. So then we raised it to 85. Then we raised it to 100. Now we're up to 125, which is still pretty iffy in most of the city. But with us working with the affordable, the low to moderate income individuals, they can't qualify for a lot more than that. So we kind of have a double-edged sword running on here. We do have an investor coming on. All of the money that we loan comes from investors or from banks. We're a nonprofit, so we're not out here to make the big bucks. Everything that we make and do goes back into our nonprofit in some way. If it goes to pay for the education that these people are getting. The people, when they come in and take the home buyer education, pay $25. And it costs somewhere around $200 a person to put that education on. So everything that we do is refunding other programs that we have. We do have grant money from time to time, which is such a blessing. We had THDA grant money that ran out about a year ago. And I have a waiting list of 150 people who cannot qualify to borrow the money, or they would have already had the loans in place. Job is